What's up, everybody? Brothers, sisters, psychonauts, and seekers of truth. It is Ananka, and welcome to my bazaar. Today, I have a diphenhydramine trip report for you. The title of this trip report is A Strange Combination, and was submitted to Erowid in 2012 by the user King BB. With all that being said, let our story begin. Saturday night, and everyone seems to be doing something other than you. Friday night was fun and full of drinking, followed by more drinking the next day. Planning to retire home to bed after feeling substantially ill and had very little sleep. My girlfriend, I will refer to her as C, and I were invited to spend the night at a friend's house. I will call A. At first, I was quite wary about the idea, due to feeling ill, but decided to go anyway. On arriving at A's house, there was a sufficient amount of alcohol, but nothing else. Gradually, a few more people arrived, two of which had smoked the last of their weed. When A wanted to go and purchase some more alcohol, I mentioned that if she had some money, I could get a hold of some acid. But as I was about to call him, my phone died. A had recently done some diphenhydramine in the form of nitol pills, 50 milligrams per pill. She raided her bedroom and medicine cabinets and managed to find a total of 19 pills, 950 milligrams. A and I were both going to have 9.5 each, but then C said she wanted to try it, so the doses worked out as follows. Me and A took 325 milligrams, and C took 300. Ingestion took place at around 1 to 2 in the evening. The atmosphere was extremely calm. We were around good company. Despite my feeling extremely run down and ill, I was quite optimistic about consuming the diphenhydramine, despite reading many a bad experience online. One thing that did worry me slightly was the fact of combining it with my olanzapine prescription pills for bipolar disorder. I proceeded to look it up online, but, surprisingly, found fuck all. Hence my main reason for writing this. I was determined to experience the most I could out of this, as I had not done it before. I persisted to keep my eyes open and keep moving for around 50 minutes. It was then that I felt an extremely warm and tingling sensation over my entire body. I also felt like I was floating. This was some cause for concern because I started to feel sick, and I know people can be allergic to it. At exactly the same moment, both me and C got up and went to the toilet, but were only there for a moment because the nausea went as quickly as it had come. This is where things start to get weird. The warm and tingling feeling was still there, and it felt like I was floating still. I had to come to terms with this and proceeded to watch Young Ones on TV. I was watching the TV quite calmly, and all of a sudden I'd be watching it in town, sitting on a concrete monument. I had actually changed where I was, and it didn't strike me as weird at all. It felt perfectly normal. Then I'm back in the real world, and I tell everyone what happened, and no one seems that interested. C and A had not felt anything, apart from C feeling sick. I continued to slip in and out of reality, thinking I was in all sorts of places. On a plane, down by a river, in town, but the TV never went away. Every time I came back into reality, I told everyone where I had been in quite incoherent speech. One thing I noticed was that my hands felt really awkward. I kept thinking I had something in my hands, so I was constantly disappointed when I lift my hand to take a toke on a cigarette that wasn't there, or to take a bite from a chocolate bar. This continued all night, and I was constantly asking my friends where my fag had gone. About half an hour after the effect, it became extremely difficult to follow the TV, so I gave up on watching it and decided to look around. As soon as I stopped focusing on the TV, slipping into totally different settings became less and less frequent. Instead, I would be sitting next to people that were just not there. One person that kept appearing was my friend E. She'd be talking to me. I found it very difficult to actually remember what was being said, and I'd be listening intently, then say something in reply like, "I totally understand where you're coming from." And everyone in the room would look at me. I'd look back at E, and she'd be gone. This was thoroughly confusing and happened pretty much constantly. Sometimes it was my friends from school, often people I hadn't spoken to in years. I remember distinctly me and my imaginary friend were discussing the fact we hadn't spoken properly in years, and I decided to hug him and tell him we should spend more time together. This is where I was asked, "What are you doing?" by the people in the room. I looked back at my friend who I was hugging, and it was a pillow. I found it extremely difficult to follow who was in the room and who wasn't. C had gone to bed upstairs, but I kept seeing her walk across the room, and I even put my arms around her at one point. She turned out to be another pillow. It was little things, like cats walking across my friend, bugs in the air, balloons. I constantly saw yellow balloons. One was behind my head, and I tried so hard to get it, but I couldn't find it. I even asked my mate if he could pass it to me, who told me there was nothing there. At around 2 a.m, I fell asleep. I woke up again and thought I had sobered up. We put another film on, and I thought that my lack of coordination was just the after effects. It turns out I was tripping just as hard. I realized this when I saw a little man about 2 feet high walk up to the TV, headbutt it, and vanish. This made me laugh hysterically, and I was in total disbelief that no one else had seen it. We sat there till about 4 a.m, watching films. I was tripping constantly. I continued to see people who weren't there and interacted with them as if they were. It got to the point where I just refused to acknowledge them anymore. They were talking to me, and I just said, "You're not real, go away," and they would vanish and reappear. In the morning, I felt similar to how I felt the night before. In fact, I still feel similar to how I felt at 2 p.m. the next day. It was like being asleep whilst being awake. It is so much like a waking dream, it is unreal. I wish I had taken more to make the experience even more crazy. This is something I thoroughly enjoyed, quite possibly because I love dreaming so much. I definitely plan to do this again in the near future. A few factors that might be the explanation why I'm the only one that felt something, whilst A and C felt nothing, could be the fact I had very, very little sleep the night before, and I had been up for a long time, my light weight compared to both of them, and my prescription to olanzapine, 5 milligrams a day.